All right, we are live. What is up, everyone? Hope you are doing good on this 4th of July. Wanted to pop in and do the live stream. Don't have anything super particular to talk about, but I was thinking about it and I was like, well, with Kevin Harvick retiring, somebody is going to have to fill that leadership role over there at Stewart-Haas Racing. And I was just thinking, who is going to be the leader over there or the best driver or whatever you want to call it? Who's going to take over that leadership mantle over there at Stewart-Haas Racing? So I put that poll question up. Is it going to be Ryan Preece? Is it going to be Chase Briscoe? Is it going to be Josh Berry? Or is it going to be whoever they have in the number 10 car, whether it be Eric Almirola or whoever they might slide in there, be it Zane Smith, as some rumors would have it, just whoever they decide to put over there. So the poll question is up. If you guys would like to answer that one, as we stand right now, it is 20% for the 10 car, 62% for Josh Berry. Chase Briscoe's at 12%, and Ryan Preece right now at 6%. So we will have to see how that plays out as the show goes on. But I'll get to your questions right now. If you want to drop the question down here in the comment section, we'll get it kicked off down there. Happy 4th of July, everybody, says One Wise Guy. What's up, One Wise Guy? Donnie Love saying hello. What's up, Donnie? Good to see you on here. Well, NASCAR should feel bad. They got their clock clean by outside champion. I don't really buy into that because this car is very similar to an Australian V8 supercar. Yes, he had to switch sides of the car, and he has running in the Australian V8 supercar series. He has more experience on a street course. So if ever there was a tailor-made event for a ringer or an outside person to step in and win, this was that. So I don't think anybody should hang their head about getting beat and not taking anything away from him. It was a feat that he did for sure. But I wouldn't be too embarrassed. He had more experience on that type of track than anybody else in the field. Napa Racing. That's why I said if you guys remember, like a long time ago, that's why I said I would love to see Penske field a car for Scott McLaughlin and for SVP to drive the Project 91 car. Now you're seeing why I wanted to see that, because I would have loved to have seen Scott McLaughlin and SVP go at it in this race. It would have added just an extra layer or a dynamic, but super cool either way. Napa Racing fan says your poll is totally unanswerable. The SHR has been Stewart-Harvick Racing, especially the last few years. They've had great years as an organization, but Harvick has always been the best driver on the team. So there you go. And I said, so you're saying Harvick's better than Danica. That was my response to that one. But yeah, that's why I'm saying that's what makes this really interesting, because now you're taking historically your best driver at Stewart-Haas Racing, not named Tony Stewart. I mean, I got to put Tony Stewart up there with Kevin Harvick, to be fair, because Tony Stewart did drive for Stewart-Haas Racing. But yeah, now that those two drivers are basically gone, it feels somebody's going to have to fill a huge gap, a huge void over there. And that's why I think the poll question is interesting. Right now, Josh Berry leading the poll with 57%. Let's see. Jason Elliott says if Marcus Ambrose would have been in better equipment, he would have had a better career in NASCAR. This driver just came over and won yesterday. It shows what a good equipment this guy can win. With good equipment, this guy can win. Yeah, not only that, but this car is basically a clone, in my opinion, of the Australian V8 supercar, so that helped him too. So if Marcus Ambrose, put him in a time machine and get peak Marcus Ambrose or the Marcus Ambrose at whatever age he came into the Cup Series, and put him in this car instead of an actual stock car, that's also going to help his chances too. But yeah, everybody knows Marcus Ambrose was a heck of a race car driver. He actually ended up getting really good at short tracks, as well as, of course, being a road course ace. Ryan Fussner, says, what's up, BB? Kyle Busch salvaged another good finish after wrecking early. That's 2 weeks in a row. He's got some serious momentum at the right time. I agree with you, Ryan. They are making chicken salad out of chicken crap in some of these races. And that one was definitely self-inflicted. He locked up the brakes and got into the tire barrier, but he kept his head in the game. The entire team kept their head in the game and was able to, of course, get the. I think he could finish, what was it, 5th or 6th? He finished, I think, in the top 5. Or he might have been 6th. Was it 4th? Was it Larson 4th and him 5th? I think that was right. Yeah, I think he got a top 5. Anyway, Shy says hello. What's up, Shy? Good to see you on here. Can you talk about Atlanta and please. Atlanta, I don't have really any expectations for Atlanta. It's just going to be like a super speedway race. People will probably get super aggressive at Atlanta. I can pull up the statistics real quick, and we can look at who is probably going to be favored as far as MGM is concerned. Right now, it's looking like since 2020, the 6 races there, Ryan Blaney is favored right now. Jimmy Johnson has 1 race since 2020, which was a 7th place finish. Martin Truex Jr., average finish of 8.8. Ty 1 race, he finished 9th. Ross Chastain has an average finish of 10th in the last 5 races. And Chase Elliott has an average finish of 12th. Kyle Busch, Alex Bowman, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Christopher Bell, and AJ Allmendinger. AJ Allmendinger is super sneaky, but that's only 1 race for the Dinger. There's your average finishes there. And let's see. Take a look at the past winners if we can. If it'll pull up. Let's see here. Past wins. There you go. It's a smorgasbord here of past winners. Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Kurt Busch. Obviously not in the race, but good for 23-11 there. Kevin Harvick and William Byron, or Trackhouse, however you want to look at it. I think he won with the old Ganassi car, so probably speaking good for Trackhouse. So there you go. There's your favorites there. It looks like it could be one of those Ryan Blaney races. I'll have to really break down the numbers before I get into the expectations of it. But it'll probably be a wreck fest because it's getting close to that cutoff time. So there's going to be probably some over-aggressive driving from guys that are not locked in, would be my guess. Maybe not a wreck fest, but you will see probably some aggressive wrecks. I don't know if it'll necessarily be a wreck fest. I shouldn't say that. We'll see at least one big one, I think. Rowdy surprised me, says Ryan Fussner, says Shaw. I would love to see it return, but I wouldn't bet on it. The mayor is already looking for a reason to cancel it, says Mark Martin, fan for life. That's the feeling I get too. I never, despite all the money NASCAR spent and dumped into the community, I never got at least from the fans and the people that attended and the people of Chicago. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about from the politicians. I never got the warm fuzzy feeling after the new mayor took over from the politicians there. I would say Barry is the better driver, but Priest is just as good, says John Ray. Yeah, that's what makes it interesting. I think. Give me any of those guys. Chase Briscoe, Ryan Priest, Josh Berry. I think they're all good drivers. That's why I find it such an interesting question. And Eric Almirola, the consummate veteran. So, and he's technically in the 10 car right now. But then if you plug in, whatever rookie that you're hoping goes into that 10 car, whether it be Zane Smith or whoever, plug in whoever you want to over there. It's a very interesting question to me. I would, let's see, Chicago will not happen next year, says Def Rui. I would tend to agree with you. I think it's going to be one and done myself. Napa says, I think Danica gets too much criticism for her racing career, particularly in NASCAR. Not saying she was great. I think she would have done better in Cup by staying with JRM and Nationwide. I'm right there with you. I think she rushed herself. I don't think she spent enough time learning how to drive a stock car. That was the bigger deal. Whether it be overconfidence or whatever, she definitely she rushed through the system, and she kind of told on herself with that Tony Uri, talking about Tony Uri. She was doing some interview with somebody talking about she never used the simulator and stuff like that. So that she didn't take the lower ranks seriously and thought she was just going to be able to pick it up when she got to the Cup Series, and she found out that the Cup Series is as hard as it gets as far as that goes. I was pleasantly surprised with the Chicago race. It was good, says Shaw. Yeah, I'm glad it was a good race too. I didn't think there would be a whole lot of passing, but there obviously were passing zones. So I'm super glad I was wrong about that. It was a pretty good race, in my opinion. Now, some people were like, oh, the rain helped it and this, that, and the other thing. Well, yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you, but all that stuff happened. So it happened, and I'm just judging that one race because it's the only one race we've got to judge it on. Should it happen again? We'll judge that. I'll just judge it race by race. I'm not going to extrapolate and say, oh, if this, that, and the other thing could happen, because when you're living in the world of what you're just making stuff up, making up scenarios and stuff like that, you can make up any scenario you want to. Like I can make up the scenario where I'm the 10-time Cup champion. So we can get into anything you want to on Earth too. I thought it was going to suck hard, says Shaw. I think a lot of people did. I was keeping an open mind to it, and I'm glad. Like I said, I didn't think there would be a lot of passing, but I was definitely proven wrong there, and I'm super happy I was wrong. Once the Chicago contract with NASCAR ends in 3 years, a Charlotte street race around the NASCAR Hall of Fame would be cool to see. Here's my thing about that. It would be cool to see. I'm not going to disagree with that. But if you do another street race, I'd like to see him take it to a market that doesn't have a NASCAR race. I'd rather see them use it to grow the sport. As far as if you're going to use, and it basically it is what it is. It's a gimmick race. So I'd rather, if they're going to do a gimmick race, do a gimmick race where you can take the market to some fans that don't necessarily get to see it. E. Damon says the group's all here for sure. Ray Saylor, Chase will be the leader. Happy of 4th of July. Nothing against Josh, but Tony has put a lot of money and time into him. Yeah, he's been there longer too, so it probably will take Josh Berry at least one adjustment year. Elite, what's up, man? Subby B, hope you're having a great 4th of July. I am having a good 4th of July. I had the hamburgers and hot dogs, and we're ready to roll here. Brickyard Brickhead says next year at Chicago, Project 91 should use winner of the late night outlaw race. Hey, there you go. That would be as long as that person is out of adult timeout by then. That's somebody they could stick in there if he can get his funding right. Mark Barnum says happy 4th of July, everyone. Happy 4th of July, Mark Barnum. Stephen D'Amelio Jr. says Marcus came over when the cars were still being built by the teams. And they didn't resemble anything he drove over in Australia, resemble anything he drove over in Australia. Not like they, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he was driving today, like in his prime, like he was back then, he would have had a better chance because it basically resembles more of an Australian V8 supercar today than it ever has before. Napa Racing Fan says, God bless America for sure. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Is Barry not in the 4-car next year? Yeah, Josh Berry's in the 4-car. That's what we're talking about. He's replacing Kevin Harvick. Let's see. Nice merch hat. Reminds me of the Goodyear hats with the yellow rope. Oh yeah, this is that's a one-off. That's not up on the. Sorry, that's a bad product placement there. That green one's not available either. This one is though. So there you go. That was a terrible product placement. This is what they call a sample hat. So we're sampling it. I do like that hat, but I don't know. The price point's a little steep. Let's see. Danica Patrick unfortunately set an extremely low bar. Yeah, she just never could stay out of wrecks. So that's going to be her legacy in NASCAR. And she, I don't know, she rushed herself up from the lower series, in my opinion. 2 years later, Chicago was best of the year. There was rawness to it. It's what this new car was made for, like the Aussie Series, circle tracks or sleepers this year. Yeah, so 1.5 miles it's good at, and it looks like it's pretty good on a street course. They need to figure out a package for the short tracks, though, for sure. Johnny 5, single file restarts were the reason Chicago was good. We should single file start at every road course. I'm not against that. And I grew up in an era where they single file restarted everything and they put the lap down cars on the inside lane. So I'm not necessarily against that. Looks like we got a super chat. Brickyard, appreciate it, man. With the super chat, there's the fist bump. Thanks for helping out. They are much appreciated. We will put that to the Fiat project car. Dylan Brown, politicians always cautious. The ratings were high. They will just demand more money. NASCAR costs will just decrease next year. Yeah, like I think a lot of that was, I'm just going to throw it out there because I'm not even familiar with Chicago politics, but I'm just going to throw it out there that a lot of that money that NASCAR spent was spent greasing wheels of politicians. So now that there's a new group of politicians, it's different wheels degrees. Sky Talent, call me crazy, but if I can get more road races and Cup, I want a road and street course NASCAR series that races in the U.S., obviously, but also around the world. Sky Talent, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I think they're working on something very similar to that. So we'll have to see what happens in the future. I think it's going to be on down the road, but I think you're going to see something similar to that. I don't think it'll be the Cup Series per se, but I do think they are working on something like that. Only 5 likes. Please smash the like button as hard as I Blaney hit the inside wall the other week. Ooh, yeah, appreciate it, Jamie Schweitzer. If you'd like to hit the like button, that would be much appreciated. Haley Deegan, unfortunately, has set a low bar in trucks to be fair. Some of the incidents are not her doing, says Napa Racing Fan. Yeah, right now it's looking pretty similar to her and Danica, though. They just can't finish races. But when Haley does finish races, she does at least finish in the top 15. So I'll say that for her. But unfortunately, not a lot of finishes. She's just got to work. You can't win the race if you don't finish it, right? Deegan doesn't have the drive, in my opinion, says Shaw. A lot of people criticize her because she's a YouTuber. So, I mean, that's part of it. Let's see. If Chicago cancels, I hope they take the street course somewhere, not served by a track anywhere near it. That's kind of where I'm at with it, Martin fan. For life, Denver, San Diego, or even Portland or Salt Lake. Yeah, I'm 100% with you. Media darling, says Sha. Yeah, that's what I compared her to Michael Waltrip, if anybody remember that back in the day. Michael Waltrip always was good with the sponsors, kind of a media darling, and he only won a few races here and there. But I could see her career arc sort of being that Michael Waltrip type of career arc as it stands right now. Deegan's racecraft is poor, and with poor racecraft, you won't be successful no matter what series she races in, and that's why I don't understand why people say she'll fare better in Xfinity. I think they're saying she'll fare better in Xfinity because people in Xfinity are closer to Cup, and they usually drive a little more conservative. People in the Truck Series, they throw more kamikaze Hail Mary bombs and stuff like that. So she'll finish more races, and if you finish more races, obviously, you'll get better finishes. I think and she drives cars better than she drives trucks, not for nothing. So I think that's why people say that. But that being said, nothing's guaranteed. Plus, she had the one start and the 13th place finish. So they're putting a lot of stock in one start. So we'll just have to see how it happens. Like I said, I don't want to take a crap or dump on anybody's dream, but hopefully she puts it together. She's in good equipment. Maybe she can make a late rally in this season. If they keep the street race, they should treat it as a crown jewel and not like what they did with the Brickyard. Yeah, they once the Brickyard went to a road course, they never promoted it the same. I agree with that. They got to promote it the exact same every year. They got to make it feel important. Chrome Diesel, happy 4th to you. Denver street race or Oklahoma City. I'd be good either way, Ryan Fussner. Let's see. I don't know, because both of them are pretty, as far as both of them are pretty underserved for Cup races. So I'd flip a coin on that one. Maybe Haley wins this year. A weekend will or maybe Hayden's win this weekend will light a fire under Haley. Yet to be seen. Okay, I got her brother winning this weekend. I got you. Yeah, maybe that'll get some positive momentum for her. Happy Independence Day, says Man Cave Chronicles. Happy Independence Day to you too. Happy Canada Day, everyone, says Shaw. Happy Canada Day. What's up, Canada? Hope y'all are doing good today. Napa Racing Fan says, I like the idea of rotating street races, but it's very expensive to start up a new street race. It takes years of preparation to start it up every 3 years. Wouldn't be a bad idea. I'm not against that. So basically, as far as that goes, we just have one street race. It'll be sort of like the Olympics. Every 3 years, we have a new street race. And we don't keep going back to the same place. That way it keeps it like fresh and it keeps it new and keeps it special. Shaw says, LOL. Speaking of Deegan, apparently Kyle Busch is buying Brian Deegan's compound, and Deegan is moving to Florida. I wonder if Haley stays in North Carolina. That's a good question. Let's see. Bring it to the streets of Denver. We need it, says Martin fan. Looking out there. Let's see. John Crane, what about Voppel getting DQ'd at Sobo? How disappointing. Plus Riggs DQ'd in the Cars Tour. So in case you didn't hear it, there's a big money race, the beginning of our Virginia Triple Crown, which is a big late model deal. And some cars got disqualified. And previously in the Cars Tour race, Lane Riggs was driving for KHI. Rodney Childers set up the car and he got disqualified. So it's just getting that point of the season where the big money races and crunch time are coming up and people are pushing the envelope. And they got caught. They got caught cheating. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But when you get caught, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose the points and the prize money. So it is what it is. How do I feel about it? I feel like just about every late model out there that's running good has something cheated up. How far it's cheated up is a question, a different story. But that's just my opinion on that. Happy Canada Day, day 2, July 1st. Hope your wildfire's in soon and you get a NASCAR race coming your way. Yeah, Montreal's on that list of possible street races. So we'll see what happens there. That's the big rumor, of course. Michael McDowell said he wants to see Montreal or Circuit de Villeneuve, I think, is the one up there. One of the that's actually a circuit, though. One of the top 10 in more than 5 years of full-time, one top 10 in more than 5 years of full-time racing. In a Stewart-Haas car. Enough said about her driving ability, says Jay Santos. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She rushed. She didn't spend enough time in the development series as far as Danica goes. Ryan, Haley's compound is not the place she lives. Her dad's place is on Lake Norman. Shaw says, Napa Racing fan, I feel like the more they do cities, the better and faster they can set them up. Practice makes perfect. Yeah, that's probably a fair point, Shaw. Elite says, I actually don't mind single file restarts everywhere, but I know that's extremely unpopular and newer fans would throw a fit. Hey, we're NASCAR fans. We're gonna throw a fit no matter what. It doesn't matter what happens. We're gonna have something negative to say about it. That's how we roll. E. Damon, Cup needs to go to Mid Ohio, watch an IndyCar there. Cup would be great. Mid Ohio is the one that I hear a lot. A lot of people want to see it up there for sure. Hey, BB just jumped on. Love the Chicago event and would love to see NASCAR bring it to Denver. Oh yeah, so a lot of people are pumping up Denver. Moulton says Custer is back in Cup and reuniting with Rick Ware. Yeah, that's for sure. I saw that the other day. I'm happy about that. And with the improved speed and pace from Rick Ware Racing, Custer legitimately could outrun a few of SH cars. I've seen Rick Ware Racing doing that this year. Yeah, if he's going to Rick Ware Racing, I would imagine he's going to get. They're going to give him the Stewart-Haas setup, so he's going to be driving a Stewart-Haas Rick Ware car. It's looking like Chase Elliott is racing fast enough to point his way in the chase. Good thing, because it's not looking like a W is a sure thing, says Jamie Schweitzer. That's a pretty fair statement, but he still has a legitimate chance to point his way in. The only problem with that is, even if you point your way in, if you're not getting wins, it's not looking good for your playoff run typically. Unless you pull a Tony Stewart and get hot in the playoffs, or the first year that Joey Logano won, he got hot in the playoffs. Pull one of those. So definitely not out of the question either. Would like Chicagoland back, says Chrome Diesel. A lot of people were saying that for sure. It's about 60-40. Like 60% of people really like the Chicago street race, and then 40% of the people, I just did a poll, that's why I could pull that number. About 40-something% I wanted to see Chicagoland back. But true, but each city brings a unique challenge to building a street race. None of them can be the same. I agree with you 100%, Napa Racing fan. That's part of the fun of it. If we have a street course, take it to another city, New York, San Francisco, or Detroit. San Francisco would be wild because of the elevation changes. New York, if you ever played Project Gotham, they set up a New York street course, so maybe they could base it off of that one. And Detroit already has, Bell's Isle. Bell's Isle was at least one street race in Detroit, if I'm not mistaken. Because she's a woman, that's why she has a ride. That's the only reason, says Miguel Loza. There's definitely a lot of people that feel like that too. I think Haley Deegan showed enough that she does have talent. She's not necessarily completely talentless like you've seen, like maybe some other people you can make an argument for that only got that ride because sponsors like them because they're a woman or something like that. But I think Haley Deegan actually in ARCA and stuff like that did show talent. She's just sort of has stalled out here in the truck series. Bob Pockris has said that the Ty Dillon is the leading candidate to land the number 10 car for SHR next year, says OJ and Toothpaste. Man, I can't even tell if that's Earth 1 or Earth 2, but how in the world? If Ty Dillon pulls that off, it'll be interesting because it'll be the first time he's legitimately been in a really good car. But how he would pull that off, I don't know, other than, he would bring sponsor money. The only thing I don't like about the Chicago street race is it's taking Road America off the schedule. I'm with you on that one. The other thing I don't like about it is on July 4th, and I still want to see Daytona on July 4th, but that's just me being a traditionalist. It's like 19 years ago, I was down there and Jeff Gordon won. He beat all the Coca-Cola cars and the Pepsi car. It was pretty cool. And even though I wasn't even pulling for him, I was like, that's pretty legit. You took one Pepsi car and beat like 6 or 7 Coke. Back then it was Coke 2. They were trying to pump up a new Coke, like half the calories. They called it Coke 2 or something. Let me know down in the comments if you remember Coke 2, if you're just as old as me. That would be cool. OJ and Toothpaste. Ty Dillon needs a good ride. Yeah, it would be really interesting because we've never actually seen him in a good NASCAR Cup Series ride. We saw him a few sporadic races in the Xfinity Series in a Joe Gibbs car, but that's the best equipment I think I've ever seen him in. Could any NASCAR driver hang with the supercars other than RCR equipment? Of course, RCR equipment was pretty good back in the day in the Xfinity Series when he was driving it. Could any NASCAR driver hang with the supercars, says Brickyard Brickhead? I think if you put there's a handful of drivers if you put them in the Australian V8 Supercar Series for a long enough period of time, not even long enough period of time. But I think there's some guys that could pick it up. Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott seems to be pretty good at road courses. I think he could pick up the street course stuff. So I think there are some drivers that would fare well. AJ Allmendinger jumps to mind. What's up, y'all? Happy 4th, says Mr. Pearson. Happy 4th to you as well. OJ says, should they race the street course in New Mexico? I like some small desert town with 200 population. Look, man, I love New Mexico. I think it's a beautiful place. Just the backdrop of the Painted Mountains in New Mexico, that would be a pretty much visually gorgeous race. So I'm not against it. I love the name Brickyard Brickhead, says Napa Racing fan. It is a pretty stout name. I'm with you on that one. I think better female drivers like Katie Hettinger and Taylor Cush are out there. Kaylee Bryson also comes to mind there. Mark Barnum. But yeah, I'm not saying that there aren't better drivers. I'm just saying to these point before she got to the Truck Series, Haley Deegan was going out there and running well, and she won a few races here and there. So I'm just saying she's not completely talentless. The people that say she only got a job because she's a girl, I disagree with that, because she did at least win some races before the Truck Series. Now, like I said, it has kind of stalled out in the Truck Series, but before that, I think she was doing things to earn the ride. My uncle works for Goodyear and travels to the tracks. You don't want to go to Portland; they hate it. So Portland does have a lot of stuff going on, and I'll leave it at that because it's not politics. So I'm not getting into it. Kelly Combs says, "Hi everyone. I didn't really like the race. Have a great night. Thanks for the update. Thanks for hanging out with us, Kelly." Let's see. And like I said, about 40%, 45 to 46% are probably there with you. I wouldn't be against single file restarts returning, but it won't happen. Yeah, I'm with you. I think they could get it for maybe the road courses, but that would be about it. You're forgetting the setup cost if the city has to pay for it. Normally it won't happen, says Mark Langren. Yeah, and I think NASCAR paid all the way on Chicago. So I think that's the new NASCAR. They're paying all the way, hoping some of these cities in the future will bite. I think they did the big jump with Chicago, hoping to lure another city that will actually pay the money. I think that's part of it. Like NASCAR is like, we'll pay the first time, then we'll try to generate interest, and maybe next time the actual city will pay. Barry is a mature racer and the perfect guy to take the 4 and the Busch sponsorship as well, says Duke Chronic. Yeah, I agree with you, except the Busch sponsorship is going to go to Trackhouse and Ross Chastain. And I made a video about that. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but it's coming. Even Adam Stern at this point has come out and said that it's going to happen. So it's not just some Yahoo on YouTube saying it. Adam Stern has come out and said it as well. If they have a Denver street race, they need to name it Furniture Row Grand Prix with Barney Visser and maybe Martin Truex Jr. as the Grand Marshals. That would be pretty cool. Like I said, I'd love to see Furniture Row back in the sport somehow. I don't feel like it ended the greatest way for them. 9 days to the first SRX race. Yep, that's going to be pretty stout. Looking forward to it. Shaw says, I'm hoping Chase Elliott misses the chase. Someone has to dislike him, says Shaw. Chase chases the chase, LMAO. Napa Racing fan, I suppose they could have Regan Smith since he won the 2011 Southern 500 for him. Hey, that'd be pretty cool. Regan Smith, I should say. Mark Langren, one wise guy. I've been to Portland, great track to drive, and they were friendly. Even made it on the news that evening. Would you watch Cole Custer outrun Chase Briscoe on raw speed in the 51? I hate going after Chase Briscoe, but holy moly, he is horrible this year. What happened to that 14 team after 2022? He's always been a kamikaze driver. That's what I've always said about Chase Briscoe. When people were giving Ross Chastain such a hard time about how he was driving, I was like, I know y'all are watching Chase Briscoe because he drives the same way. Ross Chastain has smoothed it out. He finishes more races than he wrecks now. Chase Briscoe hasn't hit that level of maturity yet, but when Chase Briscoe hits that level where he figures out that he's got to finish races, and look how long it took Ricky Stenhouse Jr. But now that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has figured out, hey, I need to finish races, that's the most important thing, he's in the top 15 in points. So when Chase Briscoe hits that maturity mark, if he stays in the sport that long, he's going to be another dangerous one, in my opinion. Shaw says I cracked me up. I would have been perfectly fine hating on Chicago, but after seeing the race, it's hard to complain about anything other than the weather and logistics that were outside of NASCAR's control. It was a solid race. I'm with you, man. I don't think there's anything you can say as far as what NASCAR had control of. Now, you can complain about the weather and stuff like that, but I thought the racing on the track was good. And there you go. Chase is running top 5, and that's when you get wins. That's for sure. Streets, San Francisco streets are horrible and would have to be paved. And they would have to remove a lot of tents. Also, one wise guy, in my opinion. Let's see. I thought Chicago was going to be crap, but I thought the race was great. If Chicagoland could produce 2018 Kyle versus Kyle finish, I changed my mind. But SVG winning was wild. Yeah, man. Like, look, the Kyle versus Kyle thing was fun for 4th and 5th. But SVG winning, and I'm the biggest Kyle Larson fan that there is. But SVG winning was the better story. Running in the trucks is going to hurt Deegan's career if she doesn't find a way to Xfinity next year. I would expect her to be unemployed in NASCAR for 2025. I don't know about that. I think as long as she can keep her YouTube channel going, she has 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's more than Dale Jr.'s Dirty Mo Media. As long as she keeps that media empire going, the money will keep coming in. So she'll have options. Now, is it going to be, she's going to lose some popularity among racing fans, but I think casual fans are still going to support her. Napa, you're nuts. Road America is 10 times the facility, says Mark Langren. I remember that Crystal Clear Pepsi, says one wise guy. Crystal Pepsi was pretty decent. I was actually a fan of Crystal Pepsi back in the day. Molten Rage, that's a driver that's been extremely disappointing. I want to know how and what happened to the team after 2022. Chase Briscoe is he's just wrecked a lot, basically. Just to cap it off there. AJ in a supercar, says Mark Langren. It would be pretty tough. Ty needs to go to RCR Xfinity vet and reserve cup driver role. I wouldn't mind seeing that either. I'd like to see him run RCR in the Xfinity Series for a championship, or try to get a championship in the Xfinity Series. Crystal Pepsi, clearly a marketing ploy, says Shaw. I'm on fire tonight, says Shaw. If NASCAR does street stuff, they should work with Indy. Indianapolis has a pretty nice downtown area. That would be pretty cool. Like, you can watch them go around Market Square Arena, if it's even still called that anymore, and maybe like loop it around to that big, like what's that big statue or whatever. They could do something. There's some pretty cool stuff they could run around. So punny, says Shaw. C2 Coca-Cola cars in 2004, Pepsi 400. Had like 10 Coca-Cola cars for sure, but Jeffrey Gordon won in the Pepsi Billion car. That's 100%, 100% OJ. I was down there for that one, and I was there the year before that when Greg Biffle won on like gas mileage or something. Let's see, Aaron Flynn, and those are the last two I went to until this year's 24 Hours of Daytona. So it was a huge gap in between Daytona trips for me. For all the ideas, Ben has it. Wouldn't surprise me to see NASCAR on the beach at Daytona. I'm not necessarily against that. If we're going to do a gimmick race, let's go all out and do a gimmick race. A women's NASCAR series, that might be cool, says Duke Chronic. They tried a women's series and it folded in open wheel. So I don't know how much support you would get for that at this point. Do you think Larson will retire with HMS or go to another team? I have no idea. I would imagine he retires at Hendrick Motorsports, though. Earth 2 NASCAR All-Star race will be a dirt race, more impressively as a 24-hour Baja race known as the Corona Lights Baja 24, says Jamie Schweitzer. I'd be whatever. If you, like I'm saying, if you're going to do a gimmick, go hard with it. Go do a big gimmick. Chastain is heading for the mountains of Busch. Says Napa Racing Fan. That's a fact. He's going to be the next Bushman. And even in the Ross Chastain victory at Nashville, you saw all the guys with towels around the beverages they were consuming. That wouldn't even be like worthy of reporting, except why would they cover up the cans if there wasn't some sponsor activity going on? Like, normally you would just crack one open and it wouldn't be a big deal because it wouldn't matter what you were drinking, right? So there you go. There's all kinds of breadcrumbs. Like I said, I did make a video about why Busch Light, I showed the evidence that Busch Light is going. And like I said, Adam Stern, a month or two later, has basically come out and said the same thing. It will be announced relatively soon, according to him. Molten Rage, just remember Chase Briscoe got a huge penalty for cheating when he literally got outrun by J.J. Ailey. Yeah, that was a bad look. 100% sure. And that could be one of the reasons he's got a new crew chief. If they would have went back to double file restarts after the track dried, Chicago would have been a wreck. I agree with you, Mark Barnum. The single file restart saved that track, or saved the momentum that track had going for it as far as the good racing goes. Will Brandon built ever come back, says one wise guy. As of right now, it looks very, very doubtful. That's all I can say about that. And it's very unfortunate that he got caught in the crosshairs of politics there. That's why I stay away from politics here, because it's just no good comes from it. Curious, which is funny because both sides are paid for by these same companies. So there's, I don't know. I'm not getting into it. Curious if Trackhouse. I said I'm not going to get into it. Then I got into it. Curious if Trackhouse is waiting for the Anheuser drama to die down before they announce. That's 100% in my opinion what's going on. That is 100% in my opinion what's going on. So there you go. It is just that, my opinion. But yeah, that's what's happening. Something in my eye there. I don't know what happened. E-Damon Racing. Most cities will not inconvenience the locals with the 8 weeks it takes to set up the race. Better off sticking with cities like Long Beach that do so proudly and well. Yeah, I'm not against that. I think Long Beach would be a great spot for it. Why would he leave HMS, OJ and Toothpaste, Shaw? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there's only like one real situation where you could see Kyle Larson maybe leaving, and that would be if he started his own Cup team, or if somebody like Dale Jr. started a Cup team and he was like maybe really good friends with Dale Jr. And he wanted to go over there and help him start a Cup team, like be the guy at Dale Jr. Motorsports or whatever. Whatever Dale Jr. would call his Cup team. Austin Dillon, I guess Junior Motorsports Cup Series team. Austin Dillon is a has-been, says Man Cave Chronicles. Yep, a has-been that won last year. There's last year's win car. So let's see. Briscoe does make really dumb moves at times. I still think Austin Dillon's move on Sunday was one of the dumbest of the year. He could have won if he had a slightly more patient with Justin Haley, says Napa Racing Fan. I don't disagree with you, but I think the reason that he was racing so hard and so aggressively right there is that they told him on the radio that the 91 is coming, and that if he didn't get around Justin Haley, that there was going to be no chance in the world that 91 didn't catch him. So I think that's where the pressure came from. But that being said, he oofed it, and he oofed it big going for the lead. So he was looking so good. It was looking so good to that point. Then he hit the wall, and the rest is history. In my opinion, the rain is what made Chicago. That being said, I'm glad he was going for it. He was going for the win. He wasn't going to be happy with the second or third place. Time for Cup races and the wet, like everyone else. Chaos factor is great for a non-points race. Yeah, I don't think people even race for points anymore with the win you're in. So I don't think points racing is even a thing anymore. I've seen the Crystal Pepsi ad from the 90s right now, says Napa Racing Fan. Man Cave Chronicles, more of a never was, in my opinion. Hey, Baloney, it's me, Danny from Nova Scotia. What's up, Nova Scotia? What's up, Danny? True Shaw, he is okay, says Shaw. I guess talking about Austin Dillon. Yeah, I think Austin Dillon's a decent driver. He's just not going to get you like 10 wins in a season. He's not that dude. But let's see. But they've got a dude on that team that can get you 10. They got Kyle Busch over there. Montreal, or maybe Toronto, says Danny Price. Hey, there you go. Toronto street race would be pretty good. Seattle would be a good street race, says Wise Guy. Seattle, yeah, there's a lot of fans. People don't realize that there's a lot of fans in Seattle that love NASCAR. So I think Seattle would be a good location as well. Especially if they could figure out a way to get it to go around the saucer thing. What is that thing called? I always remember. I was a Seattle Supersonics fan back in the day. The Space Needle. So if they could figure out a course where they went around the Space Needle, that would be pretty cool. We're live. It's at least 5K to go. A race, says Shaw. Do a gimmick race. Do a layout on the salt flats. That would be a cool one. I do think NASCAR will have like an untraditional type of a race like that, sort of a rally format at some point too. I think they're just going to keep pushing the limit. Market Square area was demolished in Indy. Monument Circle is the original roundabout. Market Square. Oh man, I didn't know that. That's crazy. Let's see. I have a high standard of living, so I'm going. Where is the where do the Pacers play now? Because that was like right there. I don't know. It's been since 2016 since I was up there. 2017 maybe. Seattle gets my vote, says Napa Racing Fan. I have a high standard of living, so I'm going first class if I go, says Shaw. Well, I have champagne tastes on a beer budget, says Shaw. I hear you, brother. Seattle would need more of a rain tires. Plan on the rain race. Plan for the race. Plan for the race to be in the rain, says Mark Langren. Golly, I can't read today. I think NASCAR should run a class of the 24 hours of Daytona. I think that's coming, Danny Price. That's just my opinion, though. Each of the big teams puts in one car, have about 10 or 12 cars. That would be awesome. Different road course, but every couple of years. But Denver. There you go. So there we go. Canada and Denver are making it known. I caught your global powers. That'd be BlackRock and Friends. The Vanguard's the other one, of course. Ryan Fussner, last stream. Here's another one. I'm with you 100%, man. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. People get red assed about politics, and it's literally the same corporations that are buying all the politicians. Anyway, Montreal race would still cost me like $3K to go, says Shaw. Yeah, but it would still be fun, man. Like, not saying you should spend that to go, but it would still be fun if you could figure out a way to make it happen. DP, I like that idea, says Man Cave Chronicles. Mark Langren, have you driven Long Beach? Definitely not for cup cars. I've never driven Long Beach. I've never even been out there to that section of California. No one leaves HMS voluntarily, not in the last 20 years. Yeah. Rick Kendrick retires them. No, I'm just playing. Vancouver, I could afford. Will Chase make the chase? We can. This poll question's been up long enough. I feel like we can end one poll question and put up another one that I will forget to end before the live stream ends. Okay. Will Chase make the playoffs? And I've lost my spot, so we will just. I'll go up a little ways and see if I can catch up. I'm not going to catch up. So I'm just going to start right here. If I missed your comment, I apologize. Stewart-Haas Racing is looking, I did catch up. It's looking really horrible right now. Kevin Harvick's the only one with a guaranteed playoff spot right now. The 41, 10, and 14 are like must wins. What happened to SHR? I don't know. They just got off somewhere. They got off. I don't know what happened with them. I don't know if Ford is putting them in timeout because they flirted with Dodge, but they're off a little bit this year. Happy Independence Day, y'all. Have a good one. I'm calling it a night. I got to be at work at 4:30. I'll listen in the morning, says William Thomas. Thanks for hanging out with us as long as you did, William Thomas. Mark Langer says, Danny, there will not be any open slots at the 24. They turn cars away this year, times 20 cars per mile. So there you go. That might be an issue. What's your thoughts on Rutledge Wood? I think he's a bit annoying, says OJ and Toothpaste. I don't think he's annoying so much as they don't use him the right way. He has strengths, and they don't play to him. And they really did him a disservice in Dawsonville when they kept throwing it back when Chase Elliott won the Atlanta race, and they just kept throwing it back to him over and over and over again. So a lot of people were hating on Rutledge Wood, and that was really the direction from NBC there. I appreciate it, One Wise Guy. It is the Space Needle. I thought it was the Space Needle, says One Wise Guy. Say Kyle, not Cal. If they don't call the Seattle street race the Fraser Crane 300, we're going to riot. That's right, and they like the riots in the streets. I think up there, if I'm not mistaken, it's either I know Portland does. I think they had one in Seattle. Speaking of Seattle, did you see where that dude tried to take some of Sean Kemp's stuff, and Sean Kemp wasn't having it, and he came out there with the non-water-based Super Soaker and was going blah blah blah. So don't mess with Sean Kemp. Don't try to take things from Sean Kemp. Let's see, Jamie Schweitzer. If Homestead ever needs a repaving temporary replace their race date with a Miami street race. Yeah, I mean Miami's already got the street course laid out. Shaw says LMAO. Say Kyle, not Cal. NASCAR needs to switch the win and you're in to 2 wins and you're in. Otherwise, it's points. Fox, a lot of guys are getting wins and wait for the playoffs, testing and sitting back. That's part of it. I say Kyle, not Cal, laughing. Rutledge Wood isn't doing NASCAR coverage as far as I know. Yeah, he's moved on to hosting shows and stuff now. Let's see. Denver tried for a kart race, but the city turned it down. Oh, that stinks. Let's see. One Wise Guy. Yeah, it happened. What happened to Rut? He started doing the floor is lava and stuff like that. he's basically just hosting shows now. He's moved on to like a different type of role. Dylan Brown says in Toronto we have 6 million plus in the GTA plus. The city has more money than Montreal with less than 2 million. It would be amazing, and the proximity to the U.S. is much closer. That's for sure. It would basically be your New York race, in my opinion. BB must not forget to close a poll. I've got to forget to close a poll. That's part of the charm. I know Chase is a bum, says Shaw. Pacers at Gamebridge. That's what I was thinking of. Gamebridge Fieldhouse. I'm old, so I was thinking it was the other one. Designed after the Hoosier movie Butler Hinkle Fieldhouse, which is where Butler plays, right? Because it's in the name. But yeah, I remember Butler because they played Duke. Obviously, I'm a Duke fan living this close to Durham. John Ray, where is Chase Briscoe in the standings anyway? He's way down there. He's not doing good. Chase Elliott and Dale Jr.'s biggest bums in NASCAR, says Shaw. So there you go. Shaw wants all the smoke from the two most popular drivers in the last decade. Motorsports outside of Toronto is amazing. Most sport just outside of Toronto is amazing. I'm not familiar with that one. I was on a race team and raced there with IMSA back in the 90s. I have to check that one out. I haven't seen Rutt on NASCAR coverage since Atlanta. I think he got pulled after Atlanta. He might have done one after Atlanta, but I don't remember him much after Atlanta myself. Last year where they showed the Dawsonville pool room like 10 to 15 times, and I don't think that's a coincidence. Yeah, and once again, not his fault. That's the director's fault. It was poor direction. You know what's crazy? Because how many times can you go back to it, and how much original content can he have at that point? You went to him like 15 times, like you're saying. You know what's crazy? And I'm not even defending him. I mean, I'm just saying that was terrible direction on whoever was directing that one. You know what's crazy? Even though, hey, call me NBC for a job, because that'll never happen now that I dissed him like that. You know what's crazy? Even though he missed like I think 5 races, look at the standings. Chase Elliott somehow can still point his way in. What the hell is how is that possible? I don't know, because everybody else has had a super crappy season. That's not like in the top 15. Chase is getting rizzed at a mile high going to the races. He was standing beside some young chick or whatever, and everybody was going crazy about that, talking about he was risen up. I guess some social media star or something like that. So he was getting a lot of social media traffic for that, and he even had to take down the picture or something like that. I think his girlfriend made him take down the picture. I don't know. In the town of Sebring, says Mark Langren. So there you go. Rutledge saw the play the fool, and we will give you a whole bunch of money. And Rutledge said, "Where do I sign?" And he might even said, "Who? I don't even have to play." Rutledge is doing other TV. By the way, in 1 week, I'm a big Hot Wheels fan, so I actually want to check out the Rutledge Wood. Real Hot Wheels Coming to Life, or whatever that's called. By the way, in 1 week, NBC dramatically improved their camera coverage. Was terrible at Nashville. Yeah. What NBC does with their camera coverage, other than it just being way better than Fox's, is I counted, it was like every 5 to 10 seconds, you get a different view. It's not one camera just panning and staying. They use every camera they've got, and they only stay on a camera view for no more than like 8 to 10 seconds. So when you change cameras that many times, it speeds up, no matter what's going on, it speeds up your mind into making the event seem faster. So you can take an hour, but you got so many different ways of switching the camera that it makes the hour seem like less amount of time, just because your mind is always looking at something else. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's keeping you entertained. So that's one of the greatest things that I noticed that NBC does that Fox doesn't do. Fox will stay on a camera angle for like 18 to 20 seconds, and it just makes it feel like it drags on sometimes. Sometimes even longer than that. Mosport is Canadian Tire. Oh, okay, Canadian Tire. There you go. I do know Canadian Tire. I just didn't know Mosport was the actual name of it. Mosport is great, but Cup Cars, question mark, says Mark Langren. Updated playoff picture, says one wise guy. Let's see. I don't know if I have that pulled up right now, but I'll go check. No, I got the results. So let's see. Where are the standings? So the current Cup standings, like regular season, is Martin Truex Jr., William Byron, Ross Chastain, Christopher Bell, Kyle Busch are your top 5. Now, if you want to go to the playoff standings, it's William Byron, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, and Kyle Larson. And the last man in right now is going to be Ty Gibbs. And then there's like Chase Elliott's in 24th. So 24th to Ty Gibbs, who is 16th right now, is on flip a coin. Daniel Suarez is in that mix as well. First or second person out. I've been trying to bring trucks back to Canadian Tire and have Xfinity and Cup in Montreal. I think a lot of people want that Montreal race. That's for sure. What's worse, Rutledge at the pool hall or Marty Smith? Anything with Marty Smith is the worst. Not a big Marty Smith fan. So anything with Marty Smith, obviously minus 10 points off jump. With jacked up Victor Wembanyama portrait carved into his haircut, I was secondhand embarrassed for Marty. I'm constantly secondhand embarrassed for Marty. Not a huge fan of his body of work. Let's see. The only way Chase doesn't get in the playoffs is if he retires before the end of the season. I'm all Logano, but Chase not getting a win. Get serious in this field of drivers this year. Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think Chase gets a win at some point. I don't know if it'll be before or after the playoffs, but I think he'll get a win this year. And I do think he'll get into the playoffs by nook or crook. NBC needs to put Mike Bagley in the booth and kick Burton to the curb. Look, man, those guys that do radio are above and beyond, in my opinion. Sebring 300K max toughness for the course will destroy a Cup car. Could be. I live in South Alberta, the Badlands, between Alberta and Saskatchewan. We could have super speedways, all size ovals, even the cities, believe it or not. But we suck. Just tiny bull rings, says Shy. At least it's not Winnipeg, though. I'm just joking. That's just a joke. Nothing against Winnipeg at all. There's a song that says "I hate Winnipeg." That's why I always make that joke. So let's see. BB spot on with the camera NBC answer. The fast cuts made it so much more watchable. Yeah, they just make it feel like it keeps going. Calgary Speedway is okay-ish, says Shaw. Napa racing fan. Jeff Burton is okay, but not great. I thought Dale Jarrett should have been in the booth right from when NBC started in 2015. Probably have Burton because he is a more recent driver. Could be. We'll have to see how the NBC lineup goes as years go by. Chase Elliott is only minus 55 out of the playoffs. You can make that up in 3 races. Yeah, I'm with you, Moulton. I think he makes it. But you still have to be able to point your way in the chase. Isn't a human. I can't believe that he's a human. I'm sorry. So Chase Elliott robot theory from Molten Rage. I like it. Or zombie. Is he a zombie or a robot? Maybe that should be the poll question. Because 61% are saying yes, he will make the playoffs right now. I think Harvick won't be the only Cup driver retiring this year. I'm leaning towards Eric Almirola. A lot of people are to retire. Honorable mention for Martin Truex Jr. I think Martin Truex Jr. goes one more year. Denny Hamlin, I think, will go at least one more year as well. But Eric Almirola is the wild card. A lot of people think he's going to retire because he tried to retire last year, and they every time I try to retire, they bring me back in. So there you go, Mark. They're going to destroy them anyway, says Waltrip Flair. So there you go. Let's do a bubble breakdown from P12 to P24, says Ryan Fussner. Okay, but I'm going to lose where I'm at in the live stream. So when I do that, I'm just going to jump into the live stream wherever I see it at. Let's see. Nope, not going to let me do it. Standings. Well, while that loads up, let's see. Napa, if they shoot an oval like Nashville, I'll take quicker cuts. My prediction is Chase Elliott wins Watkins Glen, and Alex Bowman sneaks a win before he does. That's another question. Does Alex Bowman make it? Because he's another one that's sort of on that cut line as well. He's below the cut line right now, actually. Do you have a Snapchat, BB, or Baloney Burger Facebook page? I've got a Facebook page. I don't look at it because I got off of Facebook, or I deleted Facebook off my phone. The page is still up and stuff like that. Twitter is probably where I'm most active. That's actually the only one other than YouTube. But yeah, maybe one day I will go back to Facebook. But yeah, I've got a Snapchat, but it's a personal one, and I've only got one person I follow, I think. So Snapchat's not a good one to follow me either. So let's go to the cutoff line. Ty Gibbs, that's one in. Bubba Wallace is right there with him. Only about 9 points between Bubba Wallace and Ty Gibbs. So from 15th, then you got Daniel Suarez at minus 219. Ty Gibbs is minus 213. Then you got Michael McDowell minus 223. AJ Allmendinger minus 237. Alex Bowman minus 239. Justin Haley minus 258. Remember, he suffered a penalty as well. Austin Cindric minus 258. Corey LaJoie minus 260. And then, of course, there is Chase Elliott at minus 268, and that's 55 points from 24th to 16th. And then Ryan Preece is down here at 279. So 65 points out is Ryan Preece. And somebody asked me where Chase Briscoe is. Chase Briscoe is minus 384 in 31st place in points. He is behind Eric Jones, who lost 60 points to a penalty, and Austin Dillon, who also lost like 50-something points to a penalty. So that tells you how bad Chase Briscoe's season is going. Let's see. Chase Elliott will go into a huge slump starting now. The curse has been laying, says Shah. Let's see here. It's called Winterpeg, says Danny Price. I feel like Chase is going to win a race, but after he's missed the playoffs, says Kyle. That could be a situation. That would be interesting too. I just don't see that constantly in the top 5 competing for a win, pace out of the 9, but anything can happen. Yeah, he even sounded like a little down on himself, so it seems like he's I don't know. It might be in his head a little bit at this point. Manitoba is that quiet guy. Got to be careful, says Shah. Bowman needs a win. That poor guy has had nothing but bad luck. Him and Chase Briscoe have had pretty bad luck seasons. I'll say that for sure, for different reasons. Anyone catch Burton completely gargle balls excited? Tryouts, not to say Van Gisbergen with 3 laps to go. Yeah, he let the South Boston accent out there, and that Van Gisbergen just wasn't happening. They had to mute him because he was laughing. Steady Rowdy will top 5 himself deep into the playoffs. I think Kyle Busch is doing some R&D at some of these tracks, in my opinion. I generally don't believe that he is a human. How do you miss 5 races and still be able to point your way into the playoffs? I don't know, but once again, is he a robot or is he a zombie? You're just saying not human. We need definitive answers. Is he a robot or is he a zombie? Is he in zombie mode or is he in goblin mode or is he a robot? So there you go. Alex Bowman is more talented driver than some fans. Oh, yeah, he's for sure good. Napa. Dislike the mayor, says Shah. BB's connection is set to dial up today. It's always set to dial up. I got the crappiest internet. He's a bum, says Shah. I remember when Clyde Elliott was born. I think Truex may go another year. But on the other hand, I think since he's having such a good year, you may want to go out on a high note. Something to think about. That's true. I mean, that's one way. Like if he wins the championship somehow, which he's leading the regular season points right now, so I shouldn't even say somehow. But if he wins the championship, if I'm him, I'm 100% retire. I'm out. I go out with my second championship, and we're done. Ryan Fussner, I appreciate it. Wheels was looking up to the standings. Looks like Ty's being called Randall. Yeah, that's very interesting. I saw that the other day too. I did notice that Ian Fisher, Michael McDowell has run good. Yeah, he's within sniping distance too. He's up there, so you definitely can't count him out. I listened to DVC today. Griffin had a fair point on why NASCAR. Why he doesn't want NASCAR there in Chicago, says Napa Racing Fan. He did have a fair point, but he was also nobody called him and addressed him on what he was actually saying about the city of Chicago. He was like, I didn't have anything negative to say about the city of Chicago. I was like, bruh, like Twitter is forever. You talked nothing but stone cold shit about Chicago and all the crime and all this other stuff. And then you're like, oh, we just weren't getting respect. No, that's you're living in two different worlds. There's like TV Brett Griffin, who's trying to be all like smooth or whatever. And then there's Twitter Brett Griffin, and Brett Griffin was talking stone cold shit about the city of Chicago. And then he gets on there and has like a whole bunch of cap for his reply about, oh, that's the real reason I didn't want him in Chicago. I was like, dude, whatever. Like, and nobody called him out on his bullshit. That was whatever, man. I don't even care that he has the opinion, but nobody even calling him out. I would have had word for word what he said on Twitter. I was like, well, if you said you don't have anything against the city of Chicago, why did you say this, this, and this? It was they should have called him. You can't let something like that fly, in my opinion. The sooner Bubbles gets booted from the playoffs, the better, says Mark Barnum. OJ and Toothpaste, do you think Chase Briscoe will win 4 to 5 races this year? On Earth 2, he's already won several. Let's see. Danny, no spring or fall, and summer is 2. Was in July, says Mark Langren. It was just a thought this weekend. It should be Bubbles or not Bubba. If we look at Larry Mack's trends, Chase Elliott finished 5th at Sonoma, 4th at Nashville, 3rd at Chicago. Does that mean he finishes 2nd in Atlanta and wins at New Hampshire? Oh, you never know. You never know. Isn't he the defending winner, or did he win 2 years ago at Atlanta? I can't remember. But Atlanta might be another one he can win. Mark Barnum, 100% agree. Bubbles Wallace, that fits perfectly. Weeks, says Mark Langren. Ryden says, a couple of days back, someone was asking about Super Chat. I sent a message on Twitter to you with instructions. I hope it helps. I have not looked at Twitter recently. So let's see. At least the message parts of it. I've been on Twitter. I haven't looked at my messages, I should say. BB, what do you think of the Masked Singer show? Do you record it and watch it religiously? Oh yeah, boy, I'm all about those shows. Let me tell you, the Masked Singer, that's a good one. They put masks on and sing. I don't know. I've never watched that show. I don't know what happens on it. Chase Elliott is a goblin, or at least in his own goblin mode since he came back. Because again, 130 points out. Now he's only 55 points out. What type of supersonic goblin mode is Chase Elliott on? So there you go. Moulton says he's in goblin mode. I like it. Has a rookie ever won the NASCAR Cup Championship other than the first year of NASCAR? That's a good question. I can't. If it happened, it happened before I was born. Good point, Napa Racing fan, says Donnie Love. I didn't even recognize Chase after getting shaved and a new paint of skin. I got so used to that dumb looking mustache, says E. Damon. So yeah, they put the new. He got the new skin from whatever video game we're in, this life that we're in. I don't love Dennis, but it would be cool to see him finally win a championship and then ride off into the sunset. Oh yeah, 100%, dude. Like if Denny Hamlin wins the championship, he needs to immediately retire and become the 2311 just owner guy. 100%. I agree with that. I have the perfect replacement for Bubbles, Bikini, says Mark Langren. You see May race well, but says Shaw. Brett Griffin was on Earth 2 after the Chicago race. No doubt about it. Even funnier was he was at Myrtle Beach complaining about the crime in the Chicago area. Brett Griffin is a drunk. That's 100% accurate, Mark Barnum. An old drunk at that. I'm sure there will be more actions detrimental by Denny Hamlin before the season is over. He hydroplaned and hit Bowman on Sunday, and as soon as he did that, I threw up the merch store. So if you want an Actions Hypocritical T-shirt, here you go. Here it is. There you go. There's my one plug for this live stream. There you go. Actions Hypocritical shirt is in the link in the thing I just posted there. Top notch streaming. That was a good plug. PRN is living on Earth 2. They have a ad for one of their shows where someone says Austin Dillon can win 3 to 4 races this year. Hey, he can win 3 to 4 races this year. It is possible statistically. Probability wise is a different story, but I'm pulling for him to win one race. I won't lie about that. I'll always be a RCR fan. Why is NASCAR shortened the race? Them cars could have stripped after dark. They should have put lights on them like the Garage 56 car. Chase Elliott is the defending winner of this race. So it was last year. So there you go. Let's see. I'd like to see Corey LaJoie win. Oh, dude, Corey LaJoie had a great win, a great run at the Chicago. Great run at the Chicago course. Yeah, I'd love to see him win a race too. Atlanta super speedway type track could be his deal. Came so close there last year, says Napa fan. For sure. LOL Ryan says Shaw. SVG was awesome, says live free or die trying. I agree with you. SVG. I want to say SVP because of Scott Van Pelt, but SVG. Definitely put on. Shane Van Gisbergen was he put on a show for sure. Let's see. Denny is still racy. McDonald said, I'm loving it in Chicago with all their signage, but Wallace wasn't loving it in the race. He had the McDonald's car. It was a bad day to be a burger car because the Wendy's car wrecked quite often as well. If Denny never wins one, who is the GOAT of no champions, Mark or Denny? Mark Martin, without a doubt. Mark Martin was a much better race car driver, and that's nothing against Denny Hamlin. I think Denny Hamlin's a great race car driver. Mark Martin, and it might be the age that I saw Mark Martin race, but Mark Martin to me will always be the best driver. Him and Junior Johnson will be the two best drivers that never won a NASCAR Modern Era championship. Shaw says he tries. Come on, folks. Be nice. Bubbles is sensitive, and Shaw says he tries. Chase Elliott wins. Chase Elliott will win Atlanta. Chase will crash, says Shaw. Chase can win anywhere, says Duke Chronic. Tons of NASCAR content on the tube, but BB is the rain man of NASCAR. Happy Independence Day, bud. Appreciate it, Ian Fisher. I'm not the rain man, but I appreciate the support for that one. Dude won Bathurst 1000. That's walls up and down. Yeah, I remember that course. It was on Forza. Bathurst was a course on Forza back in the day. I hated that track. I couldn't do anything with it, especially because back in the day they had the Australian V8 supercars on whatever version I played on that one. I hated that track. All I did was run into the walls. Every time I was going down elevation, I spun out. That track is hard. Let's see. What's speaking about how underrated Justin Haley is? Yeah, so Justin Haley with 15 lap older tires, he put up a heck of a fight to hold him back as long as he did, and still finished second. So held off Kyle Larson, who was on fresher tires in a faster car. So he did good for himself there too. In a completely new track, went toe to toe with a GOAT and SVG, and it wasn't like he gave up. He put up a fight for the lead. Yeah. He showed the potential that he's got there. So he needs some more runs like that. Mark, GOAT, not champion, says Mark Langren. Yeah, Mark Martin's awesome. There's just no doubt about that. Mark, he just was such a gentleman and a GOAT. He is a champion of champions though, because he was a multiple time IROC champion. Do you think Tony Stewart would entertain LaJoy for the 10? I hope so. I hope that's on Tony Stewart's mind. That would be a really awesome surprise if that ever happened. He's impressed in the Spire 7 over the past few years, given the equipment. I agree with you. SVB, Shane Van Boning, great pool player. Hey, there you go. I'm not super familiar with pool. I remember the Black Widow, the lady pool player, but that's about it. No comparison, or is it called? Do they call it snooker, or is it pool? Or is snooker a different pool game? I don't know. No comparison between Mark and Denny. Come on, man, get real. Mark Martin, yeah, but you are biased. LOL. I mean, I'm kind of biased too, so I'll throw that out there. I just don't see. I'll have to actually look up numbers one day, but I just feel like Mark Martin was way better. Why does Richard Childress? He has one of his grandsons and Shanton the little teams, and gave the other one a complete ride, including the number 3. LOL, joking, but still odd. That's because Ty Dillon does not want to drive for his grandfather in the Cup Series. That's what that's always been about. Amen. No championships, BB, says Donnie Love. As good as you are getting with that plug, I might have to sponsor you. Says Riding with Wheels. Yes, Mark Martin has done everything, but win a championship. Yeah, that plug, the plug for the merch was next level bad. The NASCAR guys are racing like a 4-speed H pattern and not a sequential 6. Says Duke Chronic. Yeah, back in the day, but now they just got the bump shifter. You bump it up or you bump it down. It's not even anything. It's just, this is your upshift, this is your downshift. So it's not even a thing anymore. You can still use the clutch though, and that's what SVG was doing. And some people are thinking he was making some grip with that on the street course that the Cup drivers were not familiar with, and they might look at that later, and that might be where he was making some of his speed, slipping the clutch as he was shifting. Ty Dillon wanted to go his own way, I believe, says Shy. Yeah, that's the story I've always heard. Obviously, I've never sat down and talked with him about it, but that's what I've always heard. Ignore. I give up on my iPhone dictation, says E. Damon. Hey, you're all good, man. I'll try to make out whatever. Like I said, I'm one of the worst spellers in the world. Let's see. Thanks, buddy, says E. Damon. No problem, dude. Mark Barnum says Janet Lee. Yeah, that's it. The Black Widow, Janet Lee. That's her. SVG was versus JH was such a fun battle for the lead because both of them weren't giving up. Justin Haley wasn't giving up, and Shane wasn't giving up. They fought each other till two laps to go, and Shane got the lead for sure. It was one of the better passes for the lead ever, and just even when he tried to cross him over and he knew it wouldn't work, he was just going for it, trying to put pressure on Van Gisbergen, and it just wasn't his day. He had 15 or 14 lap older tires, and it just didn't have anything for him, but he held him back there as long as he could. As NASCAR fans were grumpy about the change to the Cup Series has become the most diverse pro racing circuit. That's a fact. They race on more different surfaces than anywhere. Austin will be the boss one day, says Duke Chronic. Yeah, I think he's going to run the show myself. Moulton is spot on. Says Man Cave Chronicles. Mark Langren says NASCAR fans have to realize that there are great drivers in other series. Yeah, I agree. I don't buy into this. He embarrassed the Cup Series drivers. That's disrespectful to the V8 supercars. So I don't think that he embarrassed them. I think it was a tailor-made race where he actually had more experience than them. So I thought they accounted themselves well with, in my opinion, who should have been everybody's favorite to win the race. It was my favorite. It's who I picked to win the race, and I was right. So I think the Cup drivers should be proud of themselves for staying that close to somebody who is a champion at this type of racing, basically, in a car that's not that much dissimilar to what he drives, aside from the steering wheel being on the wrong side for him. What's better, BB, Buc-ee's or Love's Travel Stop? Love's Travel Stop? I don't know. Buc-ee's has more stuff you can buy. It's more touristy. But Love's Travel Stop, it's less aggravating to get in and out of. So it just depends on what you're looking for. Buc-ee's is like a Walmart with gas, with 4,000 gas pumps, and Love's is just straight up just more stuff that you're there for. So it just depends on what you're into. If you're an extrovert, you probably like Buc-ee's. If you're an introvert, you probably like Love's. So I'll leave it at that. Plus, if you fill up enough diesel gas with your Love's card, you get a free shower. So you can't take that away. I spell better than a toy. Correct. Says Shah. Why didn't NASCAR throw a competition caution when the race was shortened by 25 laps? Because they were already under caution. So they let them know when it was already under a caution. I don't know. Let's see. Autocorrect. LOL says Shah. I heard Ty wants to go his own way. But then RCR helps him and gets his ride. Yeah, so it's a weird situation. Shah says, me spell good, says Shah. Great show, BB. Appreciate it. Live free. I'm going to take off. Thanks for another awesome live stream. I part with this prediction. Michael McDowell wins a Cup race before Chase Elliott does. Oh, aggressive, Jamie. I like it. Whether it's this year or in 2024, just a Joey fan. I like it. Good. I like your aggressive pick there, Jamie. We'll have to see if that comes true. Noah Tire Barrier Gregson, Noah Wendy Gregson, or Noah Baconator Gregson. He was baconating the tires. I'll tell you that, the tire barriers. Noah the Baconator of the Tire Barrier, Gregson. Jamie Schweitzer, I like you. Who says Shaw? Molten Rage, also NRF, trying to imply that Daniel Suarez should get kicked out for SVG is such a stupid take. I know he's been disappointing this year, but he does not deserve to be out of his ride. That is just a stupid take. Yeah, like Daniel Suarez has had a pretty good season. Recently, he went into a little bit of a slump, but he's had a pretty good season. He's right there on the cutoff line for the playoffs. So, yeah, I don't understand that take. But look, NRF, he's a contrarian. He likes to throw wild takes out there. So that's how he does his deal. So he is more than welcome to make that opinion. Obviously, not a lot of people agree with his contrarian takes sometimes, but he likes to throw them out there. Off to the smoker, surf and turf before the rain, says Mark Langren. Loves is nationwide. Yeah, so that's another thing Loves has going for it. There's a lot more of them. And they're generally pretty clean. Not that Buc-ee's isn't. All the Buc-ee's I've ever been to have been super clean too. So just more of them, and they're usually fairly well run. I think Noah Gregson has one too many Baconators. I'm partial to Loves because every time I go super far, I know when I pull into a Loves, it's usually going to be pretty clean. I guess I should say that. Napa Racing Fan says, I think Noah Gregson had one too many Baconators before Sunday. Too bad. We didn't see Almirola and Gregson, the two bacon cars, battle it out. That's true. I didn't even think about the bacon on bacon crime. Let's see. SVG had to shift with his other hand. Yeah, like I said, he's on the other side of the car. I'm not taking anything away from him. Bucky's is like a Cadillac to Love's Pinto, apples and oranges. Yeah, I agree with that 100%, Kyle. Let's see. Remember, SVG drives a similar car on these tracks. No shame in that. Loss. Now, if Indy drives, go hide. LOL. Yeah, that jumping from IndyCar to a Cup car is a much bigger jump, or any open wheel car, really. Let's see. McDowell to the 10, says Duke Chronic. I've heard that rumor too, so it's going to be super interesting as to what happens. 100 laps was probably way too many anyway. I know it rained all day Sunday, but the start times didn't help, especially for Xfinity. Yeah, plus they just didn't have lights there, so NASCAR had to do something there. I mean, I'm not in love with the fact that they had to call it early and take laps away, but you got to do what you got to do. Bucky's is a travel destination. Love's is a travel stop. Says riding on wheels. Yeah, so just two totally different things. Love's is also a truck stop, and I don't believe truckers are allowed at Bucky's. I don't know. I've never really paid attention. Let's see. I see Kyle NRF has just been going wild on bad takes. I'm starting to think it's 100% intentional. I think it's always been intentional. I think he's just contrarian. He's contrarian to be contrarian, and I think he has fun doing it. And every once in a while, he says something crazy and gets things riled up. But I don't think he does it on purpose. But he always apologizes when he goes too far, in people's opinion. So I don't think he's necessarily a bad dude. I think he's just trying really hard to be contrarian a lot of times. Daniel is doing good enough, says Duke Chronic. That being said, he does go too far sometimes. Like let's be real. Thank you, Shah, says Jamie Schweitzer. That turn 6 barrier got hit like 10 times. 4 of them was Noah Gragson alone. At least 4 by Noah Gragson. Was amazed at how hard they hit the tire barriers, but not that much damage. Says Brickyard. Yeah, that was pretty interesting as well. Well, you're welcome, says Shaw. McDowell is one of the most underrated drivers. Loves have lot lizards, and Bucky's don't. Lot lizards, says Peanut Butter Heroes. Or Peanut Butter Hero. They're called pit lizards in short track racing, FYI. Let's see. If IndyCar driver doesn't finish, did you forget AJ? I mean, AJ, do you really consider AJ Allmendinger an IndyCar driver, though? He's just more of like a driver. Like, he's driven everything. Like, the dude's literally driven everything. So I don't know. You could equally consider him a sports car driver. So I don't know. It's all in how you look. Tony Stewart's an open wheel driver too. So I don't know. I just think it's a harder transition from open wheel to fendered race cars or stock cars in this situation. Bucky's is more of a family type stop. I have not heard of the term in a while, says Shaw. I'm a Penske guy first. Austin Dillon really needs to pick it up. He's not doing a thing this year. 60 DNFs. The 6 DNFs are the issue. That and the 50-point penalty. I'm a Penske guy, but Blaney is the next gen Hamlin. And even when Austin Dillon's running good, something happens, like any DNFs, like he did this weekend. Mark 63. So I do agree with you. He's got to clean up the DNFs. That's the first thing. No commercial trucks at Bucky's. So there you go. One's a truck stop and one's not a truck stop. And not a surprise. I like the truck stop for some reason. There you go. Fun fact, every driver actually did not know that SVG was driving it on a different side of the car for the whole field. Was surprised by that fact. It would feel really weird to me to enter the right side door to drive. The fact that SVG made that transition so easily is impressive, says Napa Racing fan. What is Love's from LA? Never heard of it. Love's is just a truck stop, sort of like I guess on the West Coast would be the first one that pops into my mind. If you've seen a Terrible Herbst, it's very similar to a Love's. Noah was putting a little Emerald Lagasse on his Baconator. Bam. What is an NRF? He's a fellow YouTuber, Shaw. He's been doing it for a long time, too. NRF has good content and the best logo, 24 forever, says Ryan Fussner. Yeah, his content's really good. I think it's more or less his takes on Twitter that get people riled up. I love lot lizards, says Shy. Got you. Thanks, guys. Shy laughing at that. Bucky's does not offer fuel or showers for truckers. Not a truck stop. So there you go. There you go. Got to walk the dog. Happy 4th, everybody. I write this stuff down. Got to, says Shy. NRF has excellent YouTube content as far as Twitter goes. I stay off of it, says Napa Racing fan. Yeah, so there you go. If that's not necessarily if I didn't have to use Twitter for NASCAR news, I would not have a Twitter. I'll just be totally honest with you. Kyle, lot lizards, aka hookers, says Mark Barnum. There we go. that's going to get the yellow strike. I don't care though. Let's see. He made it. He made his name in kart. Yeah, for sure. And so did Tony Stewart. I'm not saying it's impossible for open wheel drivers. I'm just saying it's harder for open wheel drivers to go over to stock cars than it is for somebody who's driving a stock car in Australia to come drive a stock car in America. That's just my take on it. And not for nothing, if you're driving open wheel, you're used to sitting in the middle of the car and not even on one side or the other, and you're used to being able to see both wheels in front of you. So a lot of people giving all that credit for SVG, which they should, for switching sides. Open wheel, you're going to a side period where you're used to sitting in the middle of the car. I didn't think Austin Dillon would make the playoffs, but I thought he'd do way better than this with Kyle Busch as his teammate. Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm with you, Napa Racer fan. He's had speed, but he has not had any type of finishes for it. He always, when he has a good car, for whatever reason this year, he always gets into some type of trouble. John Andretti drove everything, even NHRA. Yeah, he's another one for sure. Kurt Busch went over and drove a Indy car. He's another one. So there's all, and he drove drag racing as well. There's some drivers that can just jump in and drive anything. Of course, Tony Stewart. Add whoever you want to. So if I type in NRF, that will enlighten me. Says Sha. Yeah, he's got NRF Productions, I think, on he's got a YouTube channel. So he and the content he makes is not bad. John Andretti it's really good actually. I'm not even gonna say not bad. He makes really good content. Just sometimes he has contrarian opinions and it riles people up, but I think he does that on purpose. John Andretti was he has a really good one about the Hendrick iceberg. That's probably one of the better ones I've seen him make. That doesn't have as many views as I think it should have. John Andretti was a true wheelman, just like Tony Stewart drove everything, even in NHRA now. Yeah, for sure. John Andretti's a legend. Great book on John Andretti, too, if you get a chance to look at it. I forget the name of the book, but he's standing there in the yellow Pennzoil IndyCar is the cover. So check that one out if you see it. Still can't get over the time he had. I've got it here somewhere. I might have it within reach. Nope, I don't have it within reach. But next, if I remember, I'll bring it because it is a good book. Still can't get over the time. He had drama with RFK account because they ratioed him for making a bad. Yeah, like everybody likes to ratio him on Twitter, and I don't know. He has takes on Twitter, and people on Twitter don't like it, and sometimes those takes are over the line. I'm not going to sit here and lie about that, but at the same time, he's literally doing it to be contrarian, and people take it way too seriously because I don't think they get that he's doing it just to be contrarian. But we're going to stop talking about NRF now. He runs the sim before the race. So it's not no practice, says Duke Chronic. Yeah, and he had a small test at the Charlotte Roval as well. Oh my God, that RFK NRF roast was the stuff of legends. It still gets referenced to this day. Wasn't the last open wheel driver to win in NASCAR, JPM. Open wheel driver to win in NASCAR. The last open wheel driver to win in NASCAR would be AJ Allmendinger at the road course, if I'm not mistaken. The last one before him might have been Juan Pablo Montoya, but I'll have to think about it. I can't remember if Tony Stewart won after Juan Pablo Montoya, but if Tony Stewart won after Juan Pablo Montoya, it would probably be AJ Allmendinger, Tony Stewart, then Juan Pablo Montoya. But that's just off the top of my head. I'll have to actually go look at it. Napa no, AJ Allmendinger, says Mark Langren. Napa Racing fan, what are you smoking? Austin better than Kyle? Shaking my head. Nobody's saying Austin's better than Kyle. He's saying he thought Austin would have a better season being paired with Kyle Busch because Kyle Busch will be able to figure out the equipment better, Donnie. That's what he was saying there. Thanks, BB. We'll check it out, says Shah. Okay, but AJ has been a NASCAR driver for years now. You're right, though. I just think of the Dinger as a NASCAR driver. Yeah, I think more people think of AJ as probably a NASCAR driver nowadays. But like I said, and I've never been an IndyCar expert, so that's also part of the reason. Open wheel cars weigh half the weight as a stock car, but they have twice the grip. It's just physics. Therefore, stock cars are harder to manhandle, says Riding with Wheels. I didn't say Austin was better than Kyle. I said I thought he'd do better than what he's doing. Austin Dillon has improved with Kyle Busch a bit, but at the end of the day, he's only so good. I think Austin Dillon's a pretty decent race car driver, but he's never going to be Kyle Busch. Let's just be honest, and not many people ever are. Dinger is good. Shane, he never got top tier hardware. Walston Cup, he'd have a few more wins. That's a fact. Stewart, last win 2016. So there you go. It was AJ, then Stewart, then JPM. Let's see. Yes, Stewart did win after Montoya 2016. Sonoma. Ambrose was gone by 2016. Yet alone, his last win was probably 2014. And Ambrose always won in not the most elite equipment that's ever been had either. So not for nothing on Marcos Ambrose there. Tony won at Sonoma in his last year driving. Montoya hits the jet driver. I will never forget watching that. Most people won't. Unfortunately, that's one of his highlights. His other big highlight, of course, being one of the race cars in the Transformer movie. Tony won at Indy Championship, also in IRL. He won by ratioing Denny Hamlin at Sonoma by putting Denny in the wall after Denny moved him lightly. And that was funny. Denny got owned. You should have ran Denny. Why did you not run after moving Stewart? I don't know. Ambrose only won twice, both at Watkins Glen in 2011 and 2012. Yeah, he wasn't in great equipment either, though. He probably would have won some Richmond races if he was in slightly better equipment, and that comes as a petty fan for life. And I like Brad Daugherty as well. Nobody will ever beat the Candyman. He is my guy. Says Riding with Wheels. Yeah, Kyle Busch, one of the greatest of all time, no doubt about that. Strong first name, so we knew the talent was there to begin with. That'd be why I watch NASCAR every chance. I've seen so many wild moments over 40 years, wins, driving crashes, and heartbreak. That's for sure. The sport's got a lot of natural drama. That's why they don't need any manufactured drama, a.k.a. the playoffs. Kyle can only help Dylan so much. 90% of what he has, you can't teach, says E. Damon. Mother Nature took out the fireworks shows in our area tonight. That stinks. I hate that for you, Mark. Yep, E. Damon Racing. Everybody have a good one, says Riding with Wheels. I was at band practice in storage unit near the track when JPM hit the dryer. We thought a bomb went off. I heard it over our gear at full blast practicing a metalcore song. It was pretty wild. So say Kyle, that's a pretty wild story. KB, one of the biggest bums, says Mark Langren. There you go. For every Kyle Busch fanatic, there is a Kyle Busch guy that does not like Kyle Busch. So there you go. Looks like that is the last comment, so I'm going to end it here. Oh, we got one from Moulton. Rule 1, if you move Tony Stewart, you better run for your life because you're getting your butt either put in the wall or wrecked by him. Do not mess with the old goat. I agree with you. BB, what's for supper? I had hamburger and hot dogs, so I'm pretty good. Brad Daugherty is similar to Kyle Petty, speaks freely with 0 Fs, and is a gem. I agree with you, Ian Fisher. A pretty good college basketball announcer, too. Legacy MC hasn't had a great first year. Oh, they've been atrocious. But they've had 2 good finishes from Eric Jones now, 16th, and he had a 13th, I think, the race before. Or maybe it was an 8th. Anyway, 8th and a 16th or a 14th or something. So two good weeks for Eric Jones. Let's see. Brad Daugherty, and yeah, when they switch to Toyota next year, I think that's going to help quite a bit, Napa fan. But put Brad Daugherty into the booth, please. He's incredibly underrated. I agree. So says BK Shaw. Yeah, so BK is definitely not a Kyle Busch fan. Shaw, now I'm hungry, says E. Damon, and it looks like that is the last one. So I am going to end this one. I appreciate it, you guys. It was fun as always. And I'm going to break tradition. I'm going to end the poll, but it looks like 64% said yes. Chase Elliott is going to make the playoffs. I'm going to start one last poll because I don't want it to be a tradition. There you go. One last poll that I'll forget to close before we sign off here. But yeah, I'm officially signing off. Feel free to vote on the poll. It'll stay up for 5 minutes after I sign off. So get the votes in. Is Chase Elliott goblin mode, a zombie, or a robot? Hopefully I spelled all that stuff right. Yeah, looks like I spelled it right. So it's spelled right to me. All right. Happy 4th of July. Enjoy the fireworks and have a good one. Peace.